Welcome back, everyone, to my Let's Play of Final Fantasy Legend. We last left off, we were just reopened the seal to the tower, and we're gonna have to climb back up, but this time we're climbing up, it looks like, on the outside. We'll see that in just a little bit. We get the Ninja Gauntlet. It's the best gauntlet defensively in the game. It also gives plus 10 agility, and oh, look who we got here. We got Genbu the Second. Yeah, all the four fiends are back. We're gonna have to fight them again. This time they're undead because they've been resurrected, so... Although technically we didn't actually defeat Genbu the first one. We skipped him. We did that little glitch to skip it. But we're gonna end up fighting Genbu here, and because all the fiends are undead, they can be instantly one-shotted with the Sun Sword that we got. So we got lucky there. It we did defeat Genbu there with the Sun Sword critical. All the four fiends are going to drop meat, and we're going to want to eat that meat because by eating the meat of the resurrected four fiends, we get our monsters to transform into their strongest form. So there'll actually be monsters that you can't fight. They're one step stronger than the regular monsters you'd encounter. So we got a Mazin monster there. It's the strongest golem-type monster, but it's not going to be one of the final monsters that we're going to want to have. So, we're going to have run into a whole bunch of new monsters here. This is the area where we run into the final forms of all the monsters. So, we'll run into the strongest of each family type of monster. So, it may take 2 runs up the tower to find all the monsters. I'm going to try to find as many as I can on the way up. But because there are so many new monsters, I won't probably find them all, so I'll probably make a second run up the tower in the next episode. So, the way this thing works is we're going to kind of go up a bunch of floors that are very similar, fight a fiend, and then we'll end up in another area going up similar floors again. But the floors will change when we get into a new fiend. So when you see a floor change, then you know that you're going to have a new fiend to fight. So now one of the interesting things is these like escalators that take you up and then conversely down. They have different encounter rates. So if you want to encounter all the monsters in the game and you know, fill out your bestiary, you're gonna have to you know, do some farming on both the escalators going up and the stairs going down. So you know, different encounter rates for the upstairs and then the downstairs. Well, I guess the more escalators, because they move you automatically. So here we see the background changes, so we know that we're going to have to fight the resurrected Sea Ryu. So, but let's head back down here. We're going to get into a few more fights here just to get some monsters that we can only encounter in this area. So, yeah, in addition to having different monsters on the escalators up and down, usually the monsters that you can encounter in an area change when the background changes. So, just gonna take out these guys here. It's unfortunate the human-type enemies like this Musashi, they don't drop weapons like they do in the next game, because you see his last weapon there is the Excalibur. It'd be nice to have him drop that, even though it's bugged. It'd be nice to have, you know, 2 Excaliburs, one for Cess and one for our human Prin, so they'd be able to do multiple damage. So, because Cess doesn't have very much luck getting abilities that target all monsters. So. And Flare, even though these are the toughest monsters in the game that we can encounter, they're not really worth wasting our flares on. So we're saving the flares for the bosses, the resurrected 4 fiends. So we have a vampire monster here. Unlike all the other human magician type monsters we run into, this vampire is actually undead. So there's a chance that we could critical hit it with the Sun Sword. That's why I ended up getting Cess Sun Sword, because there's going to be quite a few enemies besides the resurrected 4 fiends that are going to be undead, and are thus susceptible to critical hits by the Sun Sword. So, yeah, quite a few of these monsters do have the O weapon, which means that even a human Prin with her maxed out agility and a strong agility weapon like the Cat Claw won't be able to take them out in one hit. So, Prin also has maxed out strength, which is why I also end up getting that defense sword. The defense sword, I mentioned in the last episode, but if you might not have missed it, it can function kind of like a shield. So, when if a monster uses a melee attack, the defense sword can actually block that melee attack. So, it's a way to defend yourself and attack at the same time. So, it actually has a pretty good strength multiplier on it. So, although for the main part, we'll probably be using the Excalibur when we have a big group like this. So, fireman there. So, you can actually run from these enemies though, but let's show off the nuclear bomb. It's basically like a flare spell for your characters. So, unfortunately, it's the only nuclear bomb you can get in the game. It's only a one-time use, so you can't revive it with that Arcana item. So it's one and done, but it because it only has one use, it's not really worth saving for bosses. You might as well just use the flare spell. So, alright, let's head on up. You see it has like a watery background, so much like it's a watery background, and just like the Water World where we fought Sea Ryu, we're gonna fight now the resurrected Sea Ryu, Sea Ryu 2. Once again, it's undead, so we can try to maybe get a critical hit with the Sun Sword here. We missed it there, but not too difficult. Yeah, they all have increased stats, increased hit points, but they'll still fall pretty easily because our stats have increased so much more since when we first fought them. So we got a critical hit there. Not that it really mattered, because that round we would have been able to finish it off anyway. So we're gonna want our other monster Prin to eat the Fiend's meat to turn into a Tiamat. So it's the ultimate dragon. Like the Mazin, it has really good stats. It has a bunch of not unique, but it has a bunch of multi-targeting abilities. I think it has most of the elemental attacks. So it has, gas, ice, flame, thunder, all 4 elements. 4 heads is pretty good physical attack, but like the Mazin, it's not going to be a good monster for the end of the game, for the final boss, because the final boss has immunity to all the element spells, and it has 200 defense, which means that even with max strength, like the Mazin has, we won't be able to do any damage, or very little damage with just physical attacks. So we're going to have to get a special monster to deal with that. Excuse me there, I had a little hiccup. But we'll point out that change. We're going to have our Tiamat is going to change a little bit. We're going to look for some Shaka meat to turn it into an insect, but that's not going to be the final form. No, these 2 forms will be the second to last forms that we want to get. So we're going to eventually want to have Mazin eat an Evil Eye meat, and I forget what the Clipper is going to want to eventually eat. But we won't have to eat any more of the 4 Fiend meats, because our 2 monsters are already at their maxed class. Now, once your monster is at a maxed class, it can never be reverted down. So no matter what meat you eat, doesn't matter the level of the monster, it'll remain at the highest tier monster. So yeah, that was a problem with some of the monsters earlier, that you would have you would run into you'd get meat and your monster might degrade into a lower form, into a worse monster, but that'll never happen anymore with the monsters at their max level. So they're stuck at max level, which is good, so you can eat meat without fear. Here's a Rasaka. Hopefully we can get some of that meat to change Prin. It'll change Prin into a weaker monster, but it'll be one step away from the final transformation that we want. So the best monster you can get for beginning with the final boss is a high slime, because they have a melt ability and really good stats behind it. I'm going to get one high slime, then for variety I'm going to have probably the second best monster to fight the final boss with, a Dark Rose, because they have a drink ability. They don't necessarily have as good stats as the high slime monster, but just for some variety's sake, we're going to run with two different monsters. So now Prin is the max insect there. So Tusk, two swords. Elec, unfortunately that Elec is not like the electricity attack. It is an attack that lowers the enemy's agility, so kind of useless, but like I said, we're mainly just getting to this form to eventually get to our monster that we want, the Dark Rose. So let's just take these. Now, if you notice, the background has changed again, and that means we're going to have to fight another fiend. So, yep, no points for guessing that it's going to be Bayou Ko, the second. So, I'm going to fight him again. Also, well, the first time we got that Ninja Gauntlet before we fought Genbu 2. But after each monster fiend, we're going to get a new item, a treasure chest to block, that the fiend is blocking. The last time we ended up getting the Arthur armor, which is the second strongest armor in the game. The only armor that's stronger is that power suit, but if you take the power suit, you can't use any other armors, and the power suit has a defense of 70. So you'll actually get more defense by combining the Arthur armor with the headband, the Ninja Gauntlet, and the shoe that we're going to get after we defeat Bayou Ko the second here. So the Arthur armor also has the special ability of it prevents stone and paralysis, but we already have that ability, those abilities, or those resistances covered by the headband. But if you run in multiple humans, you know, you only get one headband, you can, you know, give the Arthur armor to somebody else and have them get those resistances, so. And here's Bayou Ko the second. Once again, another undead, and we can use our Sun Sword to take it out, hopefully in one hit. But looks like we're not getting lucky. But even without that one hit, as you can see with Prin and her cat craw messed it up there a little bit, we can pretty much take it out in 2 rounds. So, she's almost taken off half its hit points per attack, so yeah, we got meat, but we don't have we don't need to have our monsters change anymore. So we get the shoe item. This is the only boot that can raise a human's mana. So yeah, now she has 10 mana. Not that it's going to be useful, because Prin will never be casting spells, but we mainly just want that shoe just for the defensive ability. So we don't need, because we already maxed out our agility and our strength, we don't need the Geta shoes, which increase the strength, or the Hermes shoes, which increase the agility, so might as well just use these shoes that have the best physical defense. I'm gonna head up here. Quite a few new enemies. Once again, there's different groups of enemies on the escalators going up and on the escalators going down. Sometimes we'll see it says nothing happened there. What's happening in that case is the vampire must be using one of its abilities that counterattacks, and usually the counterattacks have like a special property to them, maybe paralysis or, you know, a fire attack or something. But if you have resistance to that attack, that's when you'll get that message that says nothing happens. So that's what's happening there. The vampire's trying to counter with its natural ability, with one of its abilities, but the ability isn't doing anything because we have resistance to whatever ability it was trying to use. Taking care of the Bone King there. The upgraded Bone King is a Lich. And that is potentially decent. That's another monster you can potentially use to fight the final boss. Because the Lich monster has the Flare spell, and it basically functions the same as the Flare book that Cess is using. But it only comes with 5 uses, so after 5 turns, it's going to be useless. But it's a possibility if you want to throw it out there. So background's changed again, which means that it's time for our last fiend, Suzaku the Second. So, or Suzaku 2. So, once again, we're going to see if we can maybe get lucky with the Sun Sword. But this fiend must be might actually take 3 rounds to defeat if we don't get the lucky critical hit. So, oh no, 2 rounds, taking it out. Wasn't bad at all. We won! And Suzaku 2, once again, is guarding a treasure chest, and in this case is guarding the Mazmune. So, basically the best sword, well, second best sword in the game. It pales in comparison to the glass, but like I said, in the Japanese version, the glass sword only had 1 use. So, by default, I guess the Mazmune was better because it would, you can use it infinite amount of times. In the Japanese version, Excalibur and the Mazmune both had unlimited durability. So, in this game, though, they only have 50 durability. So, but 50 durability is more than enough for both of them. And if you do some grinding post-game, you know, say you want to get your mutant up to max hit points, max stats, by having a bunch of battles, you can always buy those arcanes down at the base of the tower and restore them to their full full usage. So, and the escalator on the right goes down, so just take the one on the left and we shoot on up. So I guess we've hit the 4 fiends. We have to refight Ashura? I don't know. I'm not going to spoil it. But we'll see. Keep climbing. The Demon King. New enemy there, far over there on the right. So, how do we want to do this here? The Demon King doesn't seem too difficult. So, but try to take it out. See if we can take it out with a critical hit there with our Sun Sword. Yeah, we're down to our. There we go. Woohoo! We got the critical hit. Woohoo! Now we got the armor here. So, a lot of hit points, but not too difficult. So, has that Balkan cannon there. That's like the strongest single target gun weapon. So, head on up. And not too many more floors to go. The rock enemy. That's the bird on the right there. So should be able to take it out in one hit with the with Prin and her defense sword. There's another monster, the Spectre. Another new monster. Critical hit with the Sun Sword. Yeah, Sun Sword's pretty good because so many of these enemies are undead. So it's nice when we get that critical hit. Take them out in one hit. So because otherwise it's pretty tough to take them out in one hit because they have that O weapon ability. So cuts Prin's damage in half, and she's usually doing about 900 damage. Cut that in half, you got 450, and it's not enough because most of the monsters have, you know, between 6 and 750 hit points. So let's keep on heading up. Oh, and the scenery has changed once again. You get this really big escalator, and it's like taking us into space. The thing is getting darker and darker and darker. And we end up in this weird room here. This ball here, if we touch it, it actually restores all our hit points. So, but what's beyond on this floor with the ball? Well, we'll have to find out again in our next episode. So, come back and we'll climb back up the tower, meet the rest of the monsters that we missed, and see what's awaits us on that final floor. Take care. Thanks for following along. Bye.